everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tales from the Tavern. We've been trauma bonding in the green room over mandatory fun and work-related trips. Hopefully, we can have a lot more fun conversation about TTRPGs and dice and all things that make gaming fun tonight. So, without further ado, we're going to start by going around and letting everybody introduce themselves and tell us a little about who they are and where we can find them on the interwebs and all that good stuff. So, we're going to start with Adam, who hasn't been here for a hot minute. And Adam, tell us a little about yourself.
Hi, I haven't been here for a hot minute, so I'm very happy and honored to be back. Thank you. My name's Adam. I am the DM for the Roaring Trainers podcast, which is a Pokemon D&D podcast set in the 1920s, Kanto in the Jazz Age. And we're actually just wrapping up our second campaign. We're coming to the end of it, and that's very nerve-wracking and scary as the DM to make sure everything lands. And but it's been a really fun ride. Other than that, I just kind of hang out and play games and nerd out. And thanks for letting me be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Adam was ever so gracious to jump in at the last minute. We had somebody who ended up having an internet issue and wasn't able to join us tonight, so we're going to try to get them rescheduled for a future episode, but super grateful that Adam was able to come on and hang out tonight. So let's see. Next, we've got Juicy.
Hi, I'm Juicy Garland, a Boston area drag queen and super nerd. I am a very busy dame when I'm not a very busy guy. I am head of PR for Tabletop Tailspinners, a small but growing network focused on making sure that we have a diverse field of people who get their voices heard in actual play spaces. In that, I am on the All Our Faults podcast, which is a Monster Hearts 2 actual play podcast where I play a sad boy, angry vampire who makes everyone's lives miserable, and I hope you enjoy that. I'm also in a whole bunch of one-shots here and there, both in video and audio spaces. And if you pay attention to my socials, you'll see whatever nonsense I'm working on, both on stage and off it in your ear holes.
Awesome. And I'm super excited to have you on. And in case you haven't heard the news, Juicy's going to be on my panel at PAX East in just a few weeks. So this is Juicy's trial run to make sure that we actually like each other.
Yes, otherwise I will be hurled into the Atlantic to die. That is true. So save me, people.
Don't worry, I'll fish you out.
Yeah,
oh God,
it's okay.
I have
Tay
so
will swim
much...
and save you.
Yes, I have so much going on at PAX, actually. It's a great reminder. I'm on 3 panels at PAX, and I'm running a couple games for Gehenna Gaming, so you can find me almost everywhere.
Yes, awesome. I'm super excited. Well, thank you for coming on tonight. I'm excited to get to chat a little bit more.
Thank you for having me.
You probably have seen his photography all over social media. NPCCharles, tell us a little about yourself.
Hi there. My name is Charles. I'm a tabletop photographer. I've been DMing for about 8 years now. And yeah, I just do silly little creations on the internet and share them with everyone. And not really anything to promote or to sell. Just check out my work and yeah, just drop me a line if you want to know anything.
Yeah. I got the opportunity to hang out with Charles for an hour and talk shop and photography and gaming, and we had a blast. So I really appreciated that, and he's just great to chat with. So if you get the chance to, definitely should.
I do want to chime in. NPCCharles, you have nothing to promote. You have a TikTok that has amazing, cool stuff on it. Like your videos are always amazing. All your stills are always so cool. I've never seen anybody artistically render out battle spaces and scenes for minis like you have. Like, don't say you don't have anything to promote.
That was my play. I was gonna say nothing and then hope someone else did it that's better at it than me. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
That's the real reason we brought Ryan here tonight, to be the hype man for everybody else.
You're my ODB. Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Don't sell yourself short.
And speaking of Mr. RunDMG, Ryan, tell us a little about you.
I am RunDMG. You can find me on pretty much every social media channel where they allow you to make memes. I have all sorts of memes. I also I've started to make some more like different types of content on another channel called More RunDMG, where it's a little bit more stuff with my face in it. It's a little bit more personal. But yeah, excited to be here again. I have a podcast that I barely mentioned. It's called Dice Populi. It's an AP5E podcast.
It's so good.
And I'm very excited to be here. And I believe I'm here because Luna was part of a really wonderful charity drive that we did in January. We raised over, I believe, $26,000 together for Medicine Sans Frontieres, or Doctors Without
Charles
Borders.
was part of that too. So
yeah, Charles was part of that as well. And it was a blast, and I'm happy to be here again.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we were able to work it out, and I was so grateful that I was able to be a part of that. For the little tiny fraction that I was able to help bump the number up, but that was great. It was a very cool thing to be a part of, and yeah.
It was. I don't know if you saw Jordan finally got the belt. I have come into. I have been slowly trying to piece together all the rewards I was promising people. I was able to get Jordan the belt. I'm still working on the winning teams like dice prizes. I'm still trying to figure that out. It's gonna be very expensive, so I have to like piece it out here.
Go watermelon seeds.
Yeah. We won.
We won. Awesome. And Tay, I'm so excited you're here. Tell us about you.
Big same. This is like my favorite thing to do ever in the world. Tales from the Tavern. Best time of all time. Oh my god, who am I? I'm Taylor, or Tay. I am here because I won't leave. I bother Luna like constantly.
Tay actually lives in my basement. She lives in the basement of the tavern. It's true.
In the wall, I eat all the like rats and stuff. So kind of like a deal we have. But when I'm not doing that, I'm on Backwater Bastards, which is the world's greatest best friend story of all time, no matter what anybody's ever told you. And it's not just my mom that likes it anymore, because we got nominated for an Emmy last year, so I guess it's okay. Bam! It's a sci-fi comedy improv story, and it's like 1,000 years. I feel like we've been doing this forever now.
I was gonna say, you've been doing it as long as I've known you, and I think I've known you for at least 3 years now, so...
I think you started around the time I started, and it's been like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
We started in like 2018, and then like we kind of were pretty bad. We were learning. And so like we kind of wrapped up that campaign, and we started our sci-fi story right before 2020. So it got a little weird, you can imagine. Some of us were there. If you weren't there, great job comprehending all this language, because you are maybe 3. But it happened. I make it with my 2 little friends, and I'm the biggest, baddest boy bear girl, Cleo, that's ever lived. And we're still doing it. And we're doing some other stuff too. So like stay tuned, because things is coming. But we're not done with Backwater Bastards. It'll be forever until we all die, because it's the only thing we enjoy doing. And sometimes we go to cons. Luna let me come to PAX last year.
We tried again this year, but stupid scheduling and flights.
I know, it's so hard. So like most of the time we're in London. We go to London Comic-Con a lot, and we started going to Dragon Meet last year, thanks to the glorious Fiona Howitt, who ferried us over there in a box secretly. So I don't know, like my Twitter's on here. I'm bad at looking at it, so like don't at me, but maybe do at me if you want to be friends, because that's the vibe. So bye, that's all I have.
Yours is way better than mine.
All right, well,
I don't know what I just said. I blacked out.
It happens.
Let's see. So I am Gamer Mom Luna. This is Tales from the Tavern. So if you have never been here before, let me tell you a little about how this works and what you can expect. Everything that we talk about comes from questions from chat. So we can't prep for any of this because we don't know what you guys are going to ask. So if you have a question that you would like our panel to answer, please drop that right in the chat. Just write question and then, whatever you would like to know. That just helps our moderators pick out which questions are which. Let's see. Lord Richter, I saw you redeem the treats for kitties. As soon as I have a kitty come in the room, I will be sure to do that. Let's see. If you have a bunch of channel points racked up like Lord Richter, then you too can redeem treats for kitties, which I will feed my cat as soon as one of them enters the room. And if you have even more channel points racked up, you can use the Ask My Question Next feature, which will allow you to have your question bumped up to the next one in the queue. So, we can jump to that one sooner than we might otherwise be able to. Otherwise, I am going to kick this off with my favorite thing to talk about when we get people on here who have never been here before. If you are playing at a physical table with actual dice, do your dice have to match? So feel free to just jump in and answer the question.
Yes, because I am crazy.
I'm glad it's
Fair
not
enough.
just me.
Agree.
Yes, because I'm sane.
I love how you lie.
Yeah, I would say it depends on what I'm rolling for. That determines what dice set I use for that purpose. And yes, they do have to match. I have complete sets of each kind, probably.
That's exactly how I am. And I am the person who keeps all of my complete sets separate from each other. They do not mix in a bag or anything. They are all in cases of some sort. Except for I do have a few that are in a bag, but it's one of the bags that has individual pockets in it.
Oh, I've
It's
got
like
one of
these are my
those.
go-to dice, just always right at my side.
Yep.
Yeah. I have a couple
That's
of
good
sets like,
shit.
literally sitting in the desk drawer. I have at least 3 sets right here in the drawer next to me. I have.
Hey, but don't
I
be
feel
mad
like-
at me, but I have an unmatched set right now on my desk, and it came like that.
I feel like I
only
shared
thing
this last time I was on, but
Believe
I
me.
picked this up a long time ago. It's from Glowcraft, and it's the dice chest.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh.
So it holds a ton of dice, and then when you pull it out, it's separated with the D20 on top and the rest in there,
That's
and you slide out,
really
and
cool.
it's the most. You probably noticed it was full because I have a problem, or I
Mhm.
know what I like.
Debatable.
Either way, does anyone, if you're lucky enough to play a lot of players, does each player have to have? I'm sorry, does each character have to have a different set of dice, or do you reuse?
Oh, I reuse.
I'll reuse.
Yeah, I reuse.
I reuse because I'm cheap.
I tend to buy a new set of dice every time I'm at a convention. So rather than matching them to a character, I'm like, what set of dice have I not bought at a convention yet?
I go for different moods or different styles because like there are different kinds of characters I want to play, and I'll try to match that kind of a character rather than an individual character, so like different types. Or I just love the like frosted like borosilicate glass die, and I keep trying to find more of them, and they like were a flash in the pan where they were at a bunch of conventions one year, and now they're nowhere. I'm very sad and angry about it. Sangry, if you
Some of
will.
it started to
Sangry.
shatter. I heard that there's like some dice shattering happening. I've been seeing a lot of TikToks about it, so that could be part of why.
Well, that's
Wow.
because some
What?
people are stupid and don't
Fuck,
roll
fix
them
this.
in like a padded dice tray
Yeah,
Are people rolling those just like on the table?
nilly-nilly.
or on
I think it
cement,
just drops off
throwing
the
them
table,
downstairs. I don't
probably.
know.
That is upsetting and scary.
I'm a
I-
forever DM, so I don't get to play a character and like kind of get the device, the dice for them. But I always have like my core starter set that I like will swap in and out, and when I get a nice new set, maybe it takes the place of one kind of thing. But
I do have one exclusion for matching sets, and that's either if I need to roll a bunch of d6s, or like I happen to get like a really chunky d20.
super
See, there's a
boy.
gremlin head in there.
chunky boy.
So I've been rolling this, although it's heavy enough. Like I'm worried it's going to mess up my rolling container. It's the side, and it's like
Like-
it'll move the whole container over a couple inches.
If I gotta be rolling a lot of d6s, then okay, because I have like a Barbie themed Warhammer set, and I'm playing
I love
with
that.
my little
That's so
friend
cool.
Hamilton, and I was like, I've got to go to the shop and get those super frosted pink thousands of d6s. They can't be like just, what are we doing here? You know?
Mhm.
I mean, it's -5 to every roll. If they
my
look like
favorite
crap.
set of D6s are these ones, which they don't look like
Okay.
much. They're kind of purplish with blue pips on them, but they have glow in the dark flecks in them.
And they're very readable.
Yes.
I cannot frickin' stand dice that I
Oh.
can't read, and I've
You
bought
gotta be able to see
cool-looking
'em.
dice that are utterly unreadable. I refuse to buy them anymore.
I do have these D6s too, which Tay has one somewhere. I don't know if
Yes,
you know what
it's
I'm
in a
talking about.
special. It's in a special case.
Is it that so? And Juicy, I'm happy to say you'll be getting one of these at PAX. They have my name where this on them, because that's how. When we do the panel at PAX, because it's only an hour instead of 2 hours like the stream, we randomly pick 3 people to answer each question, and that's how we pick, is we all have a D6 with our name on it.
Okay.
So, but the funny thing was, when I ordered them, one of these is from PAX East last year, and one's from PAX Unplugged. Totally unintentionally, I ordered myself, purple's my favorite color, so I knew I ordered purple twice, but I also ordered the same pips on them, like totally unintentionally. I was like, oh, well, now I have 2 sets of purple
When
D6s
you like what
with
you
cats
like.
on them. Cool.
Amazing.
That is like one of the nicest and most thoughtful things that anybody has ever given me.
Aw.
Like, just generally, I mean, I love it. I put it in like a little thing and I wear it sometimes.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh,
So
that's
cute.
Cat.
It has my name on it.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah.
I
that's
take it to
super
other
fun.
cons and show people.
You'd be like, do you have one of these?
Yeah, I'm like, well, maybe you could get one. It's probably doable.
A
But
Luna original.
Yeah,
But
I
it
wish I
won't
could
be
take
that.
credit for it, but there's a person on Etsy that I get them from, because Etsy is amazing and awesome and supports.
I
small
just tell
creators.
people that you carved it with the laser power of your love.
That was it. Actually, I just don't tell people. I just tell people I bought it on Etsy.
I
Yeah.
love that. You know,
So
I
just-
have a dice hot take, and
Okay.
I'm a sucker. We are all suckers. Everyone's a frickin' sucker.
Yeah.
Stone dice, gemstone dice, virtually unusable. The
Mhm.
worst dice. We all spent and are spending so much money on these things. I can't use them. They're too heavy. They don't roll. They're not random enough because they just don't roll.
Yeah.
I hate them. I have like 3 or 4 sets of them. I refuse to buy them anymore. Everyone stop buying them.
Yeah. They're gorgeous and I love
Yes.
to look at them, but yeah.
That's all they're good for. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like
Kind of same for
just
metal
like the big
dice.
metal dice.
Sometimes they just don't roll. Like it just
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
pops.
It falls.
It just kind of sits there.
You know
like,
what?
Roll your hand
I'm
around
on the
and you drop
opposite
it, and
end.
it's like, bonk.
I'm on
What?
the opposite end. I love heavy dice, and I was gonna kind of ask, like, because I have the most expensive dice I have is stone dice that I bought when I ended a campaign as like a celebration, and like they're like my lucky dice. They always roll well, and they're the only set of dice that always do. So
'Cause they
here's
can't
my
be
hot
balanced.
take. Sometimes when I just feel like I personally need a win in a game, I'll just grab that D20 because I know for whatever reason it's probably weighted to the 20 or something. But
Yeah, who wants to tell them they're fixed dice?
Yeah.
they're not
That's
fixed,
kind
they're
of
stone.
a-
It's the same
what-
thing.
What I do love though are the tiny like metal gnome dice because they're
Mhm.
still light because they're small and they roll nicely.
Yeah.
And I just like them because they're legible.
It's got to be legible. That's such
Yeah.
that's the main
That
thing.
does frustrate the crap out of me if they're
These
not
are,
if
like,
you can't read them.
Hollow on the
Or if the
inside.
number,
Yeah.
the typeface
that's
for
So
the
they're actually
number
really
is
light and they
ugly.
bounce a lot, but they're metal.
I have a silicone set. They're upstairs. I'll try to remember to
Mhm.
grab them when we have
Ooh.
intermission.
Wow.
That's so
They're like
cool.
hollow.
Similarly, I have this set. I'm going to show you a set I have. I'm a dumbass for buying these. I love them. They're beautiful. They're unreadable.
Oh no, yeah.
Like-
Ooh.
Those are
like-
different.
Oh,
They
I
look-
think I know exactly the one you have because I think I have it too. And yeah,
Yep.
I
They're
like to look at
readable
them but
on
not
camera.
use them.
They're not readable in person. They're just
Okay,
useless.
that is super pretty though.
They're gorgeous. Little
pretty.
I think they're aluminum mazes.
Ooh.
And like yeah,
Yeah.
useless. We've all been hoodwinked by this culture of fancy dice.
Oh yeah.
I'm very
Still
happy.
in
I've
it.
never
I'm
bought
still in it.
gemstone, and I appreciate your warning.
Yeah, I do not have gemstone dice, mostly because I just can't. Like, there's a lot of things that I will spend money on, but for some reason, I'm just like, I can't bring myself to spend money on gemstone dice.
But you know what almost gets me is like, do you follow any of those Instagrams of those like bespoke resin
Pretty
dice
sure
makers?
I follow like all of them.
Yeah,
And
right.
they have
You
these like
actually-
they'll do like these limited runs where they'll be like, I'm making this, and there's these killer photos of it,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, there's only 10, and they're
It's-
all $300, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
It's like-
RG Dice Boutique. gorgeous.
Ooh.
So expensive, but
Yeah.
so
Genius
gorgeous.
level marketing. It's
Yeah.
incredible. I want that like marketing genius just like pumped into my veins.
Right?
I want to steal it.
Yeah.
I have a friend smoking glue guns who she just puts
Oh.
in the weirdest. I bought some dice at PAX Unplugged for my wife, and it was clear acrylic, but on the inside, it was a bunch of little penises on the inside. And she has one with like a doll head in it. I love.
I saw those. I saw those. I loved them.
She's wonderful.
Yeah, that was. I
gonna
saw
need
that
that.
TikTok and I was like, oh my god.
Love Whitney.
Oh,
All right.
I met them at PAX Unplugged. They were
Yeah.
the nicest person ever.
Oh, super nice. She's a person that seems to know everybody. So when you walk around, she's like, "Oh, I know this person." Runs away. It's like, well, I guess I'll see you in 5 minutes or tomorrow.
That's the
Adam,
beauty
you
of
have
cons.
so many dice. What is your weirdest set?
My weirdest set.
Yeah.
Where is it? I have it here. My desk is a mess. I had some. I had some bean dice made, so beans into the
Yes!
dice.
Oh my god, I remember those.
And that's probably my weirdest. I wish I don't know where they went though, and that's disturbing.
Now,
Beans,
what do you
oh
mean by
boys, is
bean?
gone.
Like
Yeah.
baked beans, like wet
baked
baked
beans.
beans?
Oh,
Well,
you
they
have
weren't
the
wet,
baking dice?
Yeah, but not that there was some that was like made and they were promoted for a while, and I don't remember who made those. This was a friend who was making dice, and I had them made. I'm sorry I don't have them, but that's probably my weirdest. Otherwise, part of the reason I have a lot of dice is when I do travel around, I always like to stop at the local game store and pick
Mhm.
something up, and it's usually dice. But I think that's my weirdest.
That's a
I
good
actually
one.
really like ugly dice, like what people might think is like ugly colors or like combos that didn't quite work. Those are like, I want those. All those colors made of poop brown. Yes, please. I want
take
those
that.
dice. Yes, I'm
Like
into
puce.
those.
Gotta build that poop palette.
God, beans and poop, I guess, is my dice
Yeah,
palette.
wow. Get it.
Here it is.
So,
I'm here now.
This
so.
seems like a great time to throw out. Lord Richter and chat used an ask my question next, so I'm gonna throw it in since it's very appropriate to the conversation. So, how many dice do you own?
Oh boy, sets.
A lot.
I mean, if I had to count actual dice, it would be a lot. But if we're talking sets,
I probably only have 10 sets total.
So there was a dice subscription, Libris Arcana, and I
I
had
remember that.
like
Yeah.
a year. So I just very recently stopped it just because I was like, there's too many. I can't keep on grabbing these dice like this. But I have a ton of sets. Sometimes people send me dice for things. They're scattered everywhere around my home.
I think at last count, I want to say I'm roughly around 25 sets, like full sets. That doesn't count like random one-off D20s that are floating around here and there.
I think I have about 10 fancy sets overall. Like, just thinking of like special sets that I got at cons over the years. And then I have a bag of dice that I knit back in college that's full of, I don't know how many sets, but it's about the size of like a hefty softball. Like a lesbian could murder me with it.
I'm
Like-
trying to do a mental count. I don't know.
On hand on my desk, I think I have 10 sets right here.
I've got 32 sets in front of me right now.
Oh my god.
I also bought the Chessex Bago dice because I like ugly dice and it usually comes with those. And there's like
Yeah.
2 of them in here.
Yeah.
So,
I got a real fucked up one in that one though. Like I got like
this would be
there were-
great.
they put in like a Christmas set or something, and it was like you could tell that this was like a run that they probably did and nobody liked it, so they dumped a whole bunch of them in this like pound of dice.
Yeah.
And it was a bunch of like clear resin dice with like Christmas ephemera in it, like reindeer
love that.
heads and stuff. And there was like one that had Santas in it or something, and one of the Santas just like inexplicably was nude.
Hey, that's a rare
And-
one.
That's a gem.
Gotta
And I
cherish
was
that.
like,
Hidden gem.
I was like, this one stays.
Yes.
This one's
That's awesome.
mine.
This
This is
one
the
goes in the
luckiest
necklace,
one.
yeah.
That's like a treasure. That goes in my treasure box, like with the dice with my name on it, the nude Santa, and then I have a set that like a friend's dog ate and then rebirthed. So those were blessed. Yeah.
I have probably had 10 total in my whole lifetime of playing tabletop games, just because I'm a forever DM, so I'm always focused on like terrain and minis and stuff like that, and luckily I haven't had enough time to focus on dice to really go down the rabbit hole, so
it's the only thing protecting you.
I take it back. I have 30 sets within arm's reach.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's more, that might be more than me.
Nice.
My issue is less about sets and more about when we go to cons as a podcast, we give away dice.
Yeah.
And so I have, over the past like 3 to 4 years, probably had maybe like 15,000 dice in my house.
Yeah.
At any given point. And I don't know how many are here now because it's uncountable. They're around. They're in my things. They all look the same, so you could say that it's one fat set, and I just reach into a bag and like pull out a handful and hope.
Amazing.
So, you know.
Oh gosh. All right, let's see. All right, so let's dive into some questions that we have from chat. Let's see. This one comes from Mall Magic. It's specifically geared towards Adam, but I know that there's a few people that, as DMs, may have answers to this. So, Adam, you are so close to finishing a multi-year campaign in a universe that's been going for even longer. What's it like as a DM as you approach the end? How do you keep track of all the threads built up over time?
Anxiety and stress, and that's pretty much the gist of it.
That's your superpower.
Yeah, stress. That's my secret. I'm always stressed. Yeah, it's very wild. For me, it's more of a little background. The campaign one's just this kind of helps with it. Campaign one I was a player in, and then we sort of had to go on a long hiatus that stopped it right around 2020. And so eventually I wanted to finish the story, so I picked it up as DM and kind of continued it. So campaign 2's been about 2 to 3 years. I don't quite remember. But campaign 1 was a couple years before that. So it's about 6 years, I think the show's been going on, with a short hiatus in between. And to come to the end of it is just, it's really emotional. Like, you put a lot of those of us that create, we put so much of ourselves into it. And then to come to the end, it's just a really interesting feeling. And then to be the DM of to end it, and just hoping and praying that we land like all the threads that are very important to the players, and hoping that it's satisfying and all that stuff. It's stress and anxiety. That's really it. I got 2 sessions left, and then we're done recording. And luckily my players are awesome, and they're just really great to play with. And so anytime I drop the ball, they pick it up and go in for a touchdown. So that's great. Or kick it in the goal, either football reference. Yeah, mainly stress and anxiety.
That works. Anybody else who has DM'd a long-term game, if you want to jump in?
Yeah, I've been DMing the same group for about going on 3 years now. And we had our campaign finally end after 2 years. And honestly, the best thing that helped me, because I'm kind of a scatterbrained ADHD kind of DM and more improv and stuff like that, but just communication with the players. I think, honestly, just like what is important to your character, what are they going to, if you had to write your own epilogue, what would it look like? So then kind of the direction they'd like that character to go post campaign. So it kind of helps you do what's right by them in the final sessions. So that was kind of how I kind of pulled the important threads to them and kind of like wove it into the finale. But yeah.
I've never actually been able to bring a long-term game in for the landing. They've always either exploded or died. I had a 4-year-old campaign die just last year when 2 of the people in it split, and it tore the group apart.
Wait, that's
we were like,
IRL.
no.
That's IRL.
IRL
Okay,
split.
I was like, I'm over here like, wow, that sounds fun.
yeah.
But then I was like,
We were
wait.
like 4 years into it. It survived COVID. It survived everything. And then when they split, it's like we just never played again.
Oh,
And
that's
then
funny.
Luna's like, and they're here tonight. And then
Yeah, that's coming out.
This is your life.
Oofed. And then what was the other one? I had yeah, and it's the same thing. I think the closest thing is that on our podcast, Dice Populi, we are very close to the end of our first campaign. But like, I'm not the one bringing it in for a landing. It's we switch off Dungeon Master responsibility, so I'm like free to mess up everything I can around me.
And boy, do you.
That's my thing. I recently flew up in the air, became a whale, and destroyed a big ship. And evidently destroying a ship of enemies made me a bad guy somehow. I don't know how that worked.
Who knew?
but it was an accident.
Oh, it was very purposeful.
Sorry, man.
Let's see. Zeal Zaddy wanted to know, so what was the main story arc in the 4-year campaign?
Oh, so it was a book adventure. So it was Out of the Abyss. We had been running Out of the Abyss for a really long time. We were starting to get, and honestly, we've been running for like 3-4 years. We were only on chapter 8 of that book, which is halfway through.
Wow.
I'm one of those DMs that really loves to like, here's the base adventure, go nuts with it. They spent like 6 months in Gracklestow, like doing brewery wars with the other brewery that was in town.
That's amazing.
So like that's what we did. And then I was like, we really need to start moving forward in this story. Can we move forward, start moving forward? And then we were actually at a friend's wedding that was also in the campaign. And then we found out that they weren't showing up, the two people involved. We're like, oh, that's weird. What's going on? Come to find out, her first text was to the bride being like, hey, sorry, things happened. Second text was next to me. It's like, we're no longer going to be participating in the campaign. We're split. It's like, oh no.
Oh, wow.
Well, first, oh no for them, because they were together about as long as my wife and I are, maybe a little bit longer. So I was like, oh my God, like this is like some of my closest friends. It was a whole thing.
It was the brewery war.
Really set the
Casualties of that war.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. 2 weeks ago, I had 2 players that were engaged, and they just broke up as well.
Oh.
Luckily,
staying in the campaign.
Luckily, the group didn't split. One of them got the D&D group in the split, I guess, in the negotiations.
I've joked about that. That legitimately happened to me when I got divorced. I kept the D&D group.
You probably made out in the end then, huh?
Oh, totally. All right, let's see. So the next question that we have is from Zeal Zaddy, and he would like to know, how much time do you spend on character prep before the first night playing a new character?
Definitely depends on the type of game I'm playing. If I'm playing an OSR style game where it's like this or like Merkborg or something where this character is going to last 5 minutes, maybe 10, who knows, I won't do any character prep. It's just whatever I roll in the moment, I'm just going to riff off that. If it's something like Blades in the Dark or something like Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, then I'll be like, I would really want to dig into some stuff here, figure out the character. And I might riff with the game master for like a week or 2 beforehand, just like figuring out everything.
The answer for me is probably too much. Because I really want to dig into the mood and the idea of who the character is, but I actually don't like build a massive detailed backstory. What I really latch on to is the idea of the person and figure out what their truth is at the moment that we're going to start the story, and get some concrete ideas about their environment and sort of who their relationships are and what their motivations are. And I spent a lot of time thinking about that. And sometimes I struggle more than others. Like sometimes I latch on really fast to an idea. Like in All Our Faults, I spent a whole lot of time trying to like center in on who my character was going to be, because I had a hard time really figuring out who this, what I planned on being, terrible character was going to be, because I needed to have a humanity in there somewhere, and sort of figuring out what that center point was going to be was tough. Or like I did limited run of Slaunchwise to the Mountain with Zealzaddy, which was doing the Old Gods of Appalachia game. And with that character, that came to me fairly quickly once I decided like who this character was gonna be. The feel of them came to me very quickly, and I was able to move into that character easily. But I still spent a lot of time really thinking about sort of who this person was tonally. And that's what I spend a lot of time on, more than the fine details, because a lot of that come out as emergent storytelling, because that's where I like to find the character is during play.
That's exactly how I am. I tend to develop my character as I'm playing my character.
Yes.
I'm gearing up to do a session 0 for a new podcast that I'm starting up with some friends, and my character, like, you know, I sort of have a rough idea of like how they talk and who they are, but I'm not like, I don't put a lot into like, okay, well, what's their motivation and what's this, because I kind of like to figure that out as I play. I had the opportunity one time to play a campaign that alongside it was a streamed campaign, and alongside it we had a text-based RP channel in our Discord server. And like, let me tell you, that was the most amazing tool for me for character development. Like, just so good. Because it was this way that like I could kind of like figure out things, and I could have time to kind of think about like, oh, how would she respond in that situation, you know? And then take what I've learned from doing it in that text-based channel and apply it to the character like actually in game. So that was awesome.
That's the move, figuring it out as you play.
And from like a GM kind of standpoint too, it's you can't really spend as much time, you know, diving into like the soul of that character, but you establish kind of those tenets, kind of like you said, the tone, kind of like what do they sound like, what do they look like when I think of them in my head, what do they look like. I just establish those base things just to give, because you kind of want to let the player's imagination kind of fill in the gaps a little bit. So you don't have to be too detailed. So it's kind of plus it's a time thing for prep. I mean, you can only do so much prep, so you kind of want to do what you can, but not get stuck on one character while you're prepping, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's why no, what were you gonna say, Tay? Sorry.
Latency.
Yeah.
I'm like 5 seconds behind everybody, and I hear it, and then I'm like I feel like this is the most exciting group, because usually I'm like, I don't want to make a backstory, and then I'm like the only one. And I sound like such a hater, but it's like I just kind of, I don't know. I love figuring it out, and you don't get to play every game that you play like for years, right? Like sometimes it's a one shot. Probably like 80% of what I do is one shots, like with people, or like three episode arcs that I'm gonna play on a stream and I'm never gonna do it again. And when you do that, it's different. I've played Mörkburg like probably 300 times now on streams, and it's just like, how many of these have I made? And they're all just creepy and weird.
Thousands.
Like, you know, and then they're dead. And like, I don't know. But for me, it has to start with like the shard and the party context. And the shard is like the spark that I've captured from the world that I'm gonna then, you know, iterate on for potentially years. Like, it could be like a picture that I saw once, or like a phrase that I heard, and I will build the entire character around the shard. It's always the shard for me. If it's like a one shot, or it's like the game I'm in now, my podcast, which is like 4 years old, and we're not even to the halfway point. And it's the party context, because as much as like, you know, main character syndrome is super fun, I kind of like who I am in the context of the people that I'm playing with the most. Like, I want to know, like, who are you and what kind of things do you want to experience? And I love to be the support. Like, how can I help you?
Yeah.
How can I make sure that these things can happen, and like, so that we can create some kind of like almost like family unit in the game. Like, if we're gonna be together in this context, like, what can we do to further it and make it happen and build something together? Because that's, at the end of it, like, that's where I get the most fun out of it.
I like the idea of developing it as you go, because it kind of leaves room for synergy between the other characters. Whereas if you all have like a boilerplate idea of what you are, it may not jive as well, I think. So that's kind of I like that idea.
Yeah.
I love it. Go ahead, Juicy.
Okay, yeah, and all I was gonna say is one of my favorite games, Delta Green, in character creation, some of the things that you do really don't have a lot of impact on gameplay, but they have a huge impact, at least for me, on characterization and figuring out who someone is. Like defining who your bonds are and making big choices there has a huge impact for me on defining who this character is. Because like choosing to have an ex-wife who doesn't talk to me anymore as a bond, and then 3 cats as a second bond, is a huge character choice, right?
Yeah.
And I did that in a personal game like a couple months ago, and that made that character huge for me. Or like figuring out your motivations and making those big swings as well. Those are required because as you play the character in Loose Sanity, you replace those with disorders. But that's not really like a mechanical thing. It has a huge impact on defining who this character is and who they become during gameplay. And that really informs, at least for me, how I'm going to play and who I am playing. Those are big and important for me in really significant ways to do role play and, you know, inhabit this person. And that is really informative for me. And I kind of carry those ideas through to other games as well, because that's sort of what I latch on to when I'm coming up with a character. Like, who are the important people? What are the things that get this person out of bed in the morning? That's how I think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so Jason said in chat that, you know, the forward story is the most important, and that, you know, he just needs as much backstory as you need to know to know how the PC behaves. And I just had responded saying that generally when I write a backstory, my backstory is just enough to say this is why they started adventuring, and that's about it. Because, you know, the way that I look at it, it kind of depends on what level you're starting at, depending on the system that you're playing. But if I'm starting at level 1, like, this is like, I just walked into the tavern for the first time and I don't even know how to hold a sword.
You ain't a hero yet.
Yeah.
That's like my GM always says, if the most interesting thing you've ever done is behind you, like, why are we here?
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a way to spin that too, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I think like there's sometimes this hyper focus on like I have to have like the right stats for this thing, and I have to be good, and I have to be like, I have to make that shot, and I have to make sure I finish this quest, and like that I successfully become this thing. But at the same time, it's like it's fun to screw up, and like and
It's so
I mean
fun.
I make a comedy show, so for us the problems are the meat of everything.
Yeah.
Like if we start with flaws, so it's like what's crap about you? You have to buy your flaws with your like actual skills, and the cost balances. So like you can't just be good at stuff. You have to be bad at some stuff. And all the bad rolls and the problems and the mistakes and the you shouldn't have gone in there but you did, and now look, like that's the story. That's where you learn. Like the critical grappling with the people you're playing the game with is in the mistakes.
I think even outside of something like comedy, like the real drama in the story is the failure, like the failure as it's happening, and then how you deal with it and then overcome it. I mean, if everything is just success, like, oh, you're just blowing everything away, the gods bow beneath you, like there's no drama, there's no stakes, and it feels
is fun to like get a hit every now and then, but
there can't be horror if you have a perfect character.
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, I have a cleric right now in my campaign that has a +0 wisdom, so it's like completely inefficient. It's just, I love it.
Those are my favorite kinds.
Just going for it.
They're trying though.
Yeah.
That is the one thing I like about like old school games is you could roll up a character and it just be terrible. The thing it's supposed to be, and then you're like, well, riding this one until it dies, might as well get as much out of it as I can. Make those big leaps.
Yeah, my strength is -2, but you know, here we are. All right. So let's see. This question is specific for Charles. Charles, your Jester and Fjord scene is gorgeous. I love the photo grain. How did you create the water in that picture? The waves look kind of 8-bit.
I might actually have it right here. It's actually just a printed matte poster. And what I do is I'll actually bunch it up so it almost has like kind of a wave to it. And then I use a lot of fog machines and things like that. So naturally the matted paper gets, kind of wet while you're running the fogger. So it gives it like a little bit of reflection. It has that natural bow to it because of the bunchiness of it, for lack of a technical term. And it just kind of comes out looking a little bit natural. It's very cheap because it's just printed matte paper, and it's very easy and very practical.
There you go. The answer was dang. That's rad.
Yeah. Double dang.
Double dang.
Dang's in the chat. Let's go.
Indeed. Yeah.
I was about to be like, drop them D's. And then I was like, well, go ahead. Actually, never mind. It's fine. Go ahead. Do what you want.
I like to use practical stuff, cheap stuff that's very easy to do. And, I don't like to do a lot of like CGI. I like to like kind of keep it practical with the effects and everything like that. So yeah, if anybody has any questions about, Anarchist Cookbook of D&D photography, I'd be happy to help.
Love that.
You did a coffee table book, didn't you?
Yeah, I was a contributor to the Tremendous Tome of Epic Dungeons by Dave Taylor.
That's cool.
So great book, very interesting. I was actually giving them out at PAX. I took them there to sell, but I ended up just giving away most of them to like these young little DMs and GMs that were coming up to the table, because they come up with like this wonder in their eye, and I'm like, well, here's something to help you. I don't, so I just gave away a bunch of packs, but it's a great like coffee table book if anyone's interested.
That's so cool.
Oh.
All right, let's see. So the next question that we have is from Echo Willems, and the question is, how do you balance playing as zany and goofy of a character concept as you want, with making sure your character works within the party and the group of players as a whole and isn't causing problems or annoyance?
I feel called out.
I was about to say I feel called out as well. How
do you play a bard?
Goblin.
I mean, on a serious note, I think it's communication. You have to have maybe some of those outside. Yeah. As Lord Richter said,
absolutely don't be a dick.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
1,000%. You
But
can
also-
be a weirdo and still be like a good player.
Yeah.
And you have to center your character in a truth, right? Like you're playing a person. Like people are weird and goofy all the time, but at the end of the day, you're playing a person. Think like a person, play to their truth. What motivates them? Like what are they feeling? Like people don't just be goofy. They're more than that. They have actual thinking feelings. So how are they actually going to react to something? And I think play them as naturally as you can, even if they're goofy. That's what I try to do. I am definitely a chaos goblin at the table all the time. But I also try to find opportunities for like sensitivity and drama, because those are interesting too. And that kind of nuance is important, not only because you don't want to annoy everyone at the table by just being lol so random, but also like it's more interesting to me, at least, to play a full person, even when I'm playing a goblin warlock with a pet beetle who they talk to that no one else can hear talk back, right? Like you can do both.
Pet beetle for a character now.
Anything is possible. I feel like this, like if you've ever, the first time I ever took an improv class, the guy was like, people are getting really nervous and they're like, I have to go up there and do a scene where that makes everybody laugh. Like you have this expectation, like I'm new at this, I maybe don't know what I'm doing, and I need to make sure everybody in the room is entertained, or I'm bad at improv and I can't come back. And the guy was like, all of you need to stop and take a minute and just realize that the goal of this is not to be funny at all. Like, because going up there and attempting to land a joke or get a laugh is the wrong mindset to create good comedy. Because what people actually want to see is they want to watch you struggle in a difficult situation and figure out what to do, because that inherently creates humor for an audience. And so I feel like for me, like me and the podcast have this huge rep for like being ridiculous maniacs or whatever. And it's like, there's a lot of extreme work behind it. Like, this is crafted over many years of us getting used to each other and like knowing how we like to be interacted with and understanding how we like to communicate and what helps move the story forward in a narrative fashion. And also just understanding that like if we just come and expect to drop one-liners all day long, it won't hit. It's not funny. It's canned. It's inauthentic. Like, manufactured chaos is painful to sit through. You've probably been at a table like this where somebody's just there because they've seen something and they just go, I'm just gonna like make people laugh the whole time. And it's like, no, just struggle and the laughs will come. Like, you don't have to be funny. You are funny all the time when you're in pain.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in that. Like, if you know, funny people are funny regardless of the situation they're in. They are not like staring straight into the can and being like, well, don't you think about like you are funny in the given situation. And also, I think an important question to ask about like funny, goofy characters, like, you need to judge your goofiness and zaniness to the rest of the party. You can't be the one like chucklehead if everybody else is trying to be like kind of serious in a scene, because you have to be you are responsible for your conduct and your part in everybody's fun. So if everybody's doing like something very dramatic, somebody's just died, and you're like, oh, well, that's a little weird.
Uh-oh.
People aren't gonna want to play with you.
Gee whiz, guys.
If you're like doing bits all the time. So I think you really have, I think that's one of the things that you like really figure out like a session 0 and like talking after games. But yeah, I really agree with what you said. Like, if you're funny, it's gonna come out regardless of the situation, not just like bits on tops of bits and one-liners on one-liners.
Yeah.
Sweet Rosie V in chat just also said too, it's also so important that you're not taking away from other characters' moments.
Very true.
Right.
You have to really be able to share the table.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that. Yeah. If your silliness or goofiness is taking away autonomy from another player or affecting the narrative that other people are going to be experiencing, then I think you have to read the room. You have to be emotionally aware of kind of the other people around you, and I think that's a good guide to know if you're being too zany.
And I think sort of in contrast, you also don't want to be too much of an edgelord, right? Like, no one also wants to play with someone who's just constantly miserable and ultra violent all the time if that's not the table you're at, right? Like,
right.
And so you have to understand and match the
Well, and everything in moderation, because too much of anything waters it down, and it does not make it as enjoyable. So I think it's just
you have to play a full person, and you can be a dark, edgier character or a goofy character, but you need to provide a complete person and really inhabit something that is full, where there are moments where you are matching the table and just being there. You're not always going to be like Gur from Invader Zim, like right? Like,
but that is the caricature for like, if it's too much,
we're all thinking it. That's what we're all referencing here. I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah, it's true. That fits really well.
That is exactly the vibe. So, like, you know what, though? If everybody at your table is Gur, like, go nuts.
That's fine. I played that game. That game
first.
Well, and sometimes, too, like, so Jason just said in chat, too, it would be funny if you are playing the grumpy edgelord on purpose because you want to be the butt of those jokes. You know, like, there's absolutely the people who can be serious all the time, knowing that their seriousness is going to be funny.
But check first on that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that person is wanting to be the butt of the joke. I feel like this happens a lot in one-shots where, like, you're meeting up with people you don't know to play a game, and, like, that person might not want to be the butt of jokes.
Yeah.
So it's, like, read the room, but also ask sometimes.
Yes.
Communication.
Yes, thank you. Reading the room is critical.
There was oh, go ahead, Juicy.
Oh no, that's it. Just like, you have to read the room, and everyone does. Like, if someone's not having fun, everybody needs to kind of pause and ask what's going on. But like, if you are not having fun because you're doing something no one else wants to do, like, you need to read the room and understand that you're all collaboratively telling a story, and
Yeah.
you need to adjust and match everyone else in tone.
If you're part of a whole, if that grumpiness is part of something that's all adding to something else, that's great. But if
Yeah.
it's on its own island, then I think it's just a little bit less conductive to the session.
Yeah. Somebody made a comment one time when they were here, and it stuck with me, and it made a lot of sense. And they were saying how when they start, this was in the case of a long-term campaign, when they start at each session, they would do kind of like a check-in with everyone, just, hey, how are you doing today? And that would be just enough. Like, one, it was like a check-in, like, hey, how are you doing? You know, like, you want to check in with your friends, but also it would give them a sense of like, oh, this person seems like they're a little off today, so we're gonna like ease up on them, you know. And you know, this person seems like, oh, they're in a really goofy mood, maybe let's lean into that a little bit this time, as opposed to just assuming that someone's default is how they are all the time.
That's such a big deal. Oh my god. Even playing with the same two people since like 2018, like almost every week, like we still got to check on each other because shit is wild out there. Like,
Yeah.
True.
things are going on, stuff is hard, you know.
And
it's worth it.
Yeah, and some games are just, this is so much more critical in some games than others. Like, I'm playing in a Monster Hearts pod. That game requires a lot of trust. Just the inclusion of sex moves alone just requires so much trust. And like, we have a tone that allows us all to go as hard with our characters as we see fit, within boundaries, of course. Like, we have red lines, we've had safety conversations plenty of times, but we all trust each other. But we also do like aftercare after our recording sessions to make sure that everyone's okay, because we have intense sessions. And also, like, I am particularly playing a character who like really toes a line between like an edgelord menace and being human enough to be like likable to the audience, but also tolerable to the other players. So like, I really have to toe this line between reading the room and like making sure the table's okay, and also playing the truth of my character. And this is something I have to be really mindful of constantly in our recording sessions. It's not always an easy walk, and if you don't think you can do that, do not do that.
Yeah.
It really, at the end of the day, like, if you can't balance that well, back off a bit and really like evaluate like what you can really do, because you want to have a good game. You want everyone to have fun, and you need to make sure that everyone at the table trusts each other enough to communicate where their boundaries are.
That is a very good pausing point for us to take a break. We are at the first hour already, so we're going to take a little break so everyone can get up, stretch their legs, refill drinks, let the dog out, whatever else you need to do. So we will be back in just a little bit. In the meantime, I just want to shout out the fact that we are now here on this channel fundraising again for Extra Life this year. So last year we raised almost $2,000, which was awesome. We were at about $1,700. The year prior we were a little over $2,000. The year before that we were a little over $1,000. So my goal is at least $1,000 again this year. So if you are interested and you want to take a look, there is a link down in the About section, and you can check out the page. If you are not familiar with Extra Life, I highly suggest you do a little reading on them. I won't go into it right now. And I will just say too, there will be another Extra Life charity stream weekend extravaganza at some point this year. Usually I do it in July. I will not be doing it in July because I'm getting married in July. So, so I will not be planning one in July. Maybe August, we'll see. But be on the lookout for information about that too. So, in the meantime, stretch your legs and all that stuff, and we will be back shortly. Okay, we're back. We were just talking about volcanoes and Iceland and men in cracks and tax dollars and hoping that friends will turn into volcanoes.
If there's tax dollars in a crack, I mean, it's a party.
All right, well, welcome back, everybody. Hope you all had a good break. Daisy was able to get her cat treats, as I mentioned in chat. She came down, she said hi. I gave her the treats from Lord Richter, so she was very happy about that, and then she took off. And because she's camera shy, she doesn't actually like to appear on camera with me. And yeah, Lord Richter, I don't think any of us are old enough for this stream anymore.
I'm working on it.
All right, so let's dive back into some questions. Let's see. The next one we have is an Ask My Question Next that came from Sweet Rosie B. And Rosie would like to know, what is a character that you've thought up but haven't yet played and want to?
Ooh.
This is kind of easy for me because I very briefly mentioned I have a Session 0 coming up. So I have a character that I'm going to be playing for a Monster of the Week podcast. And I haven't quite decided, well, maybe I did and I just forgot, but I haven't quite decided on the type of character, like which playbook I'm going to be using. But I already know that her name is Grady, and because we're playing in space, and basically we're allowed to use like any race that we want to come up with, she's sort of like Garrus from Mass Effect. Ooh. So, but not quite. Like, she's a little more human looking than Garrus is. So that's sort of where I'm at right now.
So I'm cheating. I actually will be recording sometime this month with Characters Without Stories, so I've been thinking about this. I have a character for Monster Hearts that I really want to play eventually, a witch who is an inheritor of like a family from the Salem witch trials, and he has a raven friend, and is just a moody little gay boy who doesn't trust anybody. And I'm very excited to play him eventually because I really want to play this character. But I haven't yet had the opportunity. I originally was going to play him for like a personal game, but that thing fell through. So now I'm holding him and like greedily holding onto him for when I can do some sort of new Monster Hearts pod. Either that or like one shot whenever someone wants to do one.
I'm running into an issue right now, actually. I get to be a player coming up soon, and I'm typically the forever DM. It's been a really long time since I've been a player, and I'm having a lot of trouble coming up with a player or a character, because usually when I have an idea, I just throw them in as an NPC when appropriate. And I feel like I used all my creative NPC juices for players, and I don't really know what to do now. So if anyone has any advice on what I can do, that would be great, because I'm struggling right now on it. And I thought that wasn't an issue until I finally got to be a player. And now I'm like, I don't know. I can't do that. That pork chop the cook is already used. I can't do that. So I don't know.
Pork chop the cook.
Right now I'm playing. For the first time in like my whole tabletop life, I've got to be a player. So I have like this character that I've had like kind of workshopped for a while, but I've already like, now I'm on to the next one that I want to kind of make up if I ever get to play again. And it's sort of a, the classic like retired adventurer who has something happen to his family, younger family, the newer generations of family. Ooh. So it'll cause him to go back into adventuring because of age, because of everything that's been going on. It's kind of like starting over at like level 5 or level 3 or what have you. And it's sort of the whole idea, the whole premise, or Crystal, as you had said before, is that it's kind of like the helplessness of getting older. So he's done all these things, he's achieved all this in his life, and it's now trying to do it in a more difficult way at a very difficult time in his life because he's older and he's dealing with that. So it's kind of that's an idea I've been kicking around for the next character I'll be playing.
That's cool.
I don't know if you have anything, Tay.
Yeah, maybe. Like at any given moment,
ideas, maybe.
or like, okay, I have a couple, just in my box of like things that I would like to be. I would like to experience a Ratatouille relationship where one player is something and one of us is the Ratatouille. I would like to experience that vibe. I could be the guy or the Ratatouille. Like, it's either one, doesn't matter. I feel like in my show, me and Dan play like this anyway, but one of us is in charge all the time. That would be good. I want to be a wrestler. Like, just in general, I just watched that documentary, The Wrestlers on Netflix.
Iron Claw, or is that the one? Or
it's like a documentary where they like follow these people who are wrestlers in the Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Different.
And it was so dang good. Like, watch it. It's actually for people who are like here. You're probably into storytelling, and it extrapolates in such a magical way because they talk so much about like how all what that they're doing is just it's storytelling, and they are constantly learning about how to maintain and like make the storytelling thrive. And they're just interesting people with these like incredible lives. So like I want to be a wrestler now, just like in general. I know there's like multiple tabletop games for this. I haven't played them yet, but I want to do that. My friend Fiona bought me a Hieronymus Bosch tabletop game, which is like my little thing. It's normally Garden of Earthly Delights is my Zoom background. It's how I suss people out, tell if they're cool or not, if they vibe or not. And I just like, this is like kind of a secret, but not. I recently DM'd for the first time in my life. And I want to DM this. So I guess that's not a character. That's just a game I want to play. I would like to also be a warlock that's in a like nasty power exchange, serious BDSM relationship with their patron. So there's that too.
Tay,
yeah, what's up?
can we be best friends?
Like, let's go. Where have you been?
I'm smitten.
I just like that vibe though. Like, just think about it.
We need to play games together.
How tasty could that be?
Oh my god.
Also, it would be cool to be like regular people in a dystopian situation.
Mm-hmm.
Just like trying to survive. That would be fun.
Normal
too.
people.
Normal people with like with jobs that will definitely not exist after the apocalypse.
I'll be an accountant. You can be a cashier.
Yeah. Oh, I've always wanted to be a gas station attendant too.
I love that.
Just like, these are my dreams.
And we have a kitty. We have paid the cat tax.
Yeah, this is Molly.
Look at
She
this.
doesn't usually so we moved here in November, and she does not like the new setup of where my desk is. At my old place,
Fair
my
enough.
desk was about a foot from my bed, and now she does not like the fact that it's downstairs. So anyway, my teenager brought her down so that she could have her treats. Yes, I see that Ryan has dropped. I don't know what happened, but it wouldn't be a stream without it.
Ryan's like, all of those ideas were disgusting.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out of here.
I can't in like a healthy mindset sign on to any of this trash.
She's endorsing wrestlers. Can't have it.
It's the wrestlers that was.
I know.
What we
Why
need
would
to
you
do,
bring Ratatouille into this?
we need to create a Ratatouille TTRPG system and kickstart it,
Really good.
and then make a series of pods about Ratatouilleing.
I think it's a thing.
I
And-
just have you know, Tay, that I just today saw a Ratatouille themed headband that is a little rat. I'm like
No.
gesturing, but most of the chat can't see me.
That makes so much sense.
It's a little rat that sits on your head on the headband, and like you can clip your hair into the hands.
Adorable.
cute.
Okay, wait, I'm getting an idea. So, what if in this Ratatouilleing game, you play the rat, everyone plays the rat, and like the concept is it's kind of like Octodad, where you have to remain incognito.
Oh,
Like that's a major mechanic in the game.
Yeah.
Oh my god. There's so much opportunity in this. Like there's
Yeah.
so much you could do with it. Obviously, like all of my ideas are about like power exchange.
But
It's
like,
I wanna be
when you keep it
Ratatouille,
rules
and I wanna
light,
be-
you have to maintain control over your human, and you have to stay incognito.
and you have to like slay at your craft.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you have to make them, you gotta do it
think
good.
This is
Do it good.
something in
This
italics.
is something.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how fun that would be?
We got to copyright this idea. Stat.
Immediately.
Get a lawyer.
Immediately. Adam. Copyright it.
Yeah, Adam, get on that.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm doing it. I
You're
don't know
the
why
most
I'm the
bearded.
lawyer.
Adam's
But...
This
busy
means you
writing the
have the most
copyright as we
authority.
speak.
Okay, yeah. I'll get my lawyers in touch with Ratatouille's lawyers, and we'll get it going.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so that's Disney, so we're screwed.
No. It's got to be
No.
like legally distinct, but obviously copying. So, like,
Mhm.
what do we call it instead of Ratatouille?
Casserole.
Casserole.
Vegetable casserole.
wait. It's got to be a different French food. What? Pot
Casserole.
au feu?
Casserole.
Whoa.
Hmm.
That could be it. That
Pot
could
au
Oh
be
my
feu.
it.
gosh, Zeal Zaddy just said mouse a moose.
Mouse a moose.
Oh.
Yes.
I'm just like,
That's it. Zeal Zaddy's in.
you're in. This is how it works.
Yep.
Be
Something like-
careful.
They can't feed themselves or something. Some play on being the rats.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
I love this.
Ooh. I'm feeling it. I-
Mhm.
It's a fun world if you're playing the rats too. I mean, it's a hostile world.
It
there's
is.
a lot
Yeah.
of
Lots of
lot of
danger,
things.
high stakes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
High risk, high reward.
Mm-hmm.
Think of what your little human can get you.
And think, part of character creation is you have to determine what you're hiding in. So is it like high hair, a big hat?
Ooh.
Ooh, think of the problems of that.
Mm-hmm. The GM then gets to decide like what your challenges are for staying incognito.
Oh
And that's
my
part of like
GM
the emergent
Can it be in
storytelling.
the 80s? So it's just like large hair is abounds everywhere. So there's a lot of hiding places kind of thing.
Mhm.
Or
You can set it any decade you want to.
Rosie
Hmm.
just said, and the rat is also a gas station attendant in the apocalypse.
Okay, perfect.
as mastered BDSM.
Yeah. Well, you can fit that in anything.
Yeah, oh yeah. I have.
That's a
Plus
whole
10.
different stream. We'll see you later. Good night.
Twitch is going to shut it down.
Yeah.
That's Ratatouille After Dark.
Mm.
You never know. You
A
never know.
Doug Dimma home hat. Thank you, Rosie. Yes. 800 feet tall.
You'll need that.
Oh my goodness. I'm readjusting now that Ryan is back.
Sorry.
Now it's all
I
good.
think your character concept for the BDCM Warlock knocked out my internet.
I was
we just,
Well-
we just figured that you were like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Don't worry, because while you were gone, I was being you, and I agreed to a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah, well, the
Alright.
last time Tay was
Appreciate
on
that.
Tales, Tay was on, well, TT Benjamin. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
she managed, how many games are we up to him GMing now? 692?
Like a lot.
792, something like that, yeah. So that's what happens when you disappear.
Some people
It's-
would say that he was coerced, but other people wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
He was voluntold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, voluntold.
Yeah, that's exactly
Mhm.
what happened, is he was voluntold.
We want him to be a
Aw.
team player and
Yeah. We'd really,
really
like
have a growth
that.
mindset.
Yeah.
Yes.
The growth,
A
the growth
growth
mindset would help.
You kind of ratatouille'd him into it.
Yeah.
There we go. Full
There you
circle.
go.
And we've come full
Full
circle.
circle.
Amazing. All right, let's see. The next question that we have is from Lord Richter. And the question is, have you as a player or a character ever inspired your GM to go all out, like write a song or design a trap or whatever? I'm definitely not looking at Ryan for this because I feel like that's something that may have happened on Dice Populi, but I could be imagining that.
The trick for me is getting my GM to stop.
Explain more.
Okay, my
Tell
good
us more
friend
about this.
John, who GMs for our personal games, won't shut up, won't stop making music or singing songs or doing doodles. He just is this boundless well of creativity. And it just is, it's endless, and it's a burden for everyone around him, and he makes sure it is, and I love him for it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I played in a game, a Pathfinder game where somebody ended up writing a whole shanty about it. It wasn't the GM, but it was somebody that was like loosely like watching the game or whatever, ended up writing a whole shanty that became the theme song for the rest of the stream.
That's pretty cool.
Last session I was in, the bard brought a lute, didn't tell anyone, waited for a random performance check that he got the DM to do, and pulled it out and started playing a song, and it was like everybody's minds just exploded. And that was probably the most impressive display I think I've seen of guerrilla inspiration farming. So it was very interesting.
I think for me, so in Dice Populi, I played Necromancer. I've had this zombie follow me around named Jerry for a really long time, and there finally was a situation where we were given like a wish basically by like a god, and like I could feel the pressure on me because for the longest time, like if I could only just make him a real boy, so that was the wish that I was like, I want to make it. For some reason, like I want to say Colin like acted like he wasn't prepared for it. But I've been saying this the entire time. So Colin made my zombie from just a kind of a yes man, does anything I say. He's now a very like kind of edgy teenager type of vibe.
Oh, that's what you get.
Funny. So like the last like little section of our campaign has been a lot of like me bickering back and forth with the equivalent of my teenage son.
Okay,
so that's been a lot of fun.
It's been really fun to listen to too. So
yeah. Colin is taking it very seriously.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I was scared for a minute when you said that. I was like, I was receiving a wish from a god. And I was like, what did you do to him? Did you wish him away?
It is kind of like, it's funny too, because as a zombie, like he is my zombie. I also killed him.
He's my zombie.
Oh. So like,
I'm feeling it.
Yeah, he was a guard, like a random guard, and I was like, oh, you guys saw. I was like, oh, magic missile, and just pop, 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 pop. Just dead. I was like, oh, then I bring him back up. He's gonna lead us through. He'll be our guard. We're doing like a prison transfer or whatever. And then I just kept him, and that was like years ago at this point. He's like our Discord mascot, a bunch of stuff. So.
I feel like our GM just kind of has to make stuff up to keep up with the things that we are as people. Like, because this is kind of who I am all the time, so it's like he got to be working, like that's just how it is. But I think like, because over the years everybody that works on the show is day job working in a creative industry, so it's kind of like the art or the 3D models or the maps or whatever are kind of coming out the wazoo, whoever's playing with us. And then like friends that are watching the show. So we've had some like pretty ridiculous fan art just over the years from people who are like really doing VFX during the day, or like that would probably be the craziest thing on a recurring basis that's ever been made. But I don't know, maybe one day we too can create a zombie and keep him forever. I guess we kind of stole a guy from an airport once, and he's not dead.
Not even in the game. That's real life.
Yeah, we just keep him.
Just keep him.
In a way, it's
little
the
kidnapping
same.
Among friends.
We share him. Like it's like when you're in school and there's a turtle and somebody has to take it home. Same thing.
So that guy didn't fall in a hole. You just kidnapped him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, or did he?
Or did he?
Maybe I've been playing Ratatouille this whole time.
You see the hair shift a little bit,
A mic just moves up.
My wig.
Excuse me. All right, so let's see. The next question that we have is another one from Mall Magic, and the question is, how do you feel about self-insert characters? Do you prefer to create something that is close to yourself, or try and stray as far from who you are as a person?
I definitely put a little bit of myself in every character just as an anchoring point. Whether it be like what I might consider a strength, I'll kind of play it up, or a fault, I'll play that up, or an insecurity, which is always fun. But yeah, I think every character's got just a little bit of Adam in them, and that was a weird thing I said, so I'm gonna yield my time.
A little bit of Adam.
You're not. I don't think you're wrong though.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong.
I like it.
I tell people that are, because a lot of new players that can be really uncomfortable with role play. I tell them an easy trick is to make a self-insert character, because a lot of it's the indecision. It's like, oh, I'm playing as some edgelord or whatever. Like, what would he do in this moment? Just think about like what you would do in this moment, and then just do it. Like, it's so much easier because it's just a quick connect. It's not like, this character. And then you can slowly, as you play, add on the layers that make you different from that character. And then it's going to be a very natural turn of events. I don't mind self-insert characters. I think it's like a good tool. If my DM does do, or GM does a self-insert character where it's just them, I will go out of my way to either like throw them something wild, just because you can't put yourself in there like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's impossible to not put at least a little something of yourself in your characters. I mean, Zielzaddy may call me out. I mean, when I played Evangeline in his game, I only played a know-it-all from Boston who went to go tell other people how to live their lives. There's nothing about that in me. But like in All Our Faults with Michael, I wanted to play a sad boy, angry gay teen. So I just went to think about me as a sad boy, angry gay teen, and went to all of my worst, darkest, most horrible impulses when I was young, and I just sort of thought about them and extrapolated them and turned them all up to 11 as like a way to source the character originally and crafted the character around that. But other characters are so different from me at the same time. Like with like Monster Hearts, especially playing a long form version of Monster Hearts, I wanted to latch onto something I could relate to because of the like romantic aspects of the game and things like that. But other games, that's less important. So it's much easier and more comfortable to go outside yourself. So it really depends on the nature of the game, who you're playing with, things like that.
Yeah, I agree with that it's really dependent on, for me, a lot of times it's dependent on the system, like how familiar I am with the system or not, because if it's a system that I don't know, I'm going to put less effort into the role playing. And so I'll be more likely to play a character that's like me on any given Tuesday. Whereas if it's a system I've played a lot, or as I get more familiar with a system as I'm playing it, the character might start to branch out a little bit more. And this again goes back to what I was saying before about that text-based roleplay channel. At the time that I was playing that game, I was new to Pathfinder. This was before 2nd edition came out. I was new to Pathfinder, but I had started playing TTRPGs with D&D 3.5. So I was like, oh, I know this game, because they're so similar. And so I sort of had an idea for the character anyway, but the more familiar I got with just how to play the game and how I could make the game work around kind of how I could see this character growing, the more role play heavy I became.
Yeah, I think it comes down to like what you're hoping to get out of that character or out of that campaign or session or whatever it might be. It's kind of fun to explore different things that aren't you. But I think, it has to be grounded in some sort of truth from yourself. It just makes it some type of connection. But again, it's probably different for every person at every table, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like to play stuff really different from me and then circle back around to find out that there was something in that that kind of fits, but you didn't maybe know.
Tay, you're really a bear, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could ask ask anybody, but like I think that can characters as like a thing to try on, like just to learn more about yourself. I learn a lot about myself trying out different stuff, like, and it also kind of gives you this environment that is sort of semi-controlled and safe to kind of identify, like, okay, I like this kind of behavior, or I like to act this way, or this really resonates with my brain in a way that I would have never imagined, or but I don't know, maybe I think it is inevitable that part of you is there, because after all of it's over, I mean, those were you. All of those cool things that you did, and like all of these things you accomplished, or like problems that you worked out, like that was you.
Yeah.
And I love thinking that, just like when you have to be your regular self, and then it's like things are difficult or hard, or you're, you know, trying to goddamn survive, and you're like, well,
I think
I'm all these people too. So like, and they wouldn't let you talk to me like that.
I think
So,
that's
like,
why
step back.
when you start playing, you're like a human fighter, and then
Yeah.
5 years later, you're playing a space squirrel that, you know, wants to get back. You know, so it's like I think as you get more comfortable with the system in the game, then you start to explore the concepts and the ideas out a little further and push it a little bit. But
I'm a
Yeah.
maniac, though. I
Or
don't
like-
give a shit if I've ever seen that system. I'll walk in with something weird and just suffer.
I once did a one-shot where they told me I could be anything, so I decided I was going to be a Lisa Frank space dolphin with mind powers.
Oh my gosh.
Because why
That's
not?
awesome.
I could be
Yeah,
anything.
why not?
So be
That's
that.
what I wanted to be for so long.
And like it started off as like a little jokey, but then it eventually turned into horror, because we were like pursuing like some like infiltrator in a skyship, and I went down into the bowels of the skyship and like haunted this person in the darkness like Jaws, because I was just sort of hovering through the shadows, and it got real serious. But like that was so far outside of who I am. Like not every character will be majority you, right? Like there are sparks of you, of course, it's coming from you.
Yeah.
Like that comes from my imagination, like, and my sense of humor, but also my sense of horror, and absurdity. I love absurdity, but like, yeah, like how you portray and what you portray can start there, but then they drift, they evolve, and characters change as you play them, and they become something else.
It's really interesting. I'm reminded now that, like, I think everyone's kind of said it, like, it's your experience level. If you kind of starting out, try to pick, you know, someone very like you, and then eventually you're a Lisa Frank dolphin, and that's awesome. But I'm reminded the first time that I kind of felt like I branched out of a self-insert, and then it sort of became a part of me. It became a persona that I pulled on in real life, and maybe that's an acting technique. I found my joy of acting in podcasting when we started, and it was never, didn't need train anything. I wish I would have. I wasted so much time as a young man. But I remember just like this character, Ricky Jones. He was a charismatic cowboy from, you know, and he was always had quick with a one-liner, and he was able to give these long, and I say the character because I never felt like I personally was able to do that. I can get very self-conscious, and I think about what I said for weeks after, and then I beat myself up. But Ricky, he don't care. He's gonna go on long soliloquies, and he can take hold of the whole garrison just from his word alone, you know. And sometimes after really understanding that character and playing him long enough, I found myself getting into situations in real life where I'm like, all right, what would Ricky say
Turn the Ricky on.
Yeah,
What
turn
would
on
Ricky
Rick. Where's
do?
Ricky? Hello, is he in there?
Mhm.
Yeah, let's bring Ricky out, and what would he do? So it's interesting. Man, what a great thing we do. Just
Is it?
farting around, improv, and acting, and having fun, and then we learn something about ourselves. How beautiful!
That's
Wow.
the magic of it.
It's the magic.
Everywhere you go, you
Yeah.
go with all your characters.
Isn't it funny how you can sidestep into a completely different headspace and a completely different
Wow.
person?
It's so cool, and I never knew that until I started doing this, and it's like, it saved me so much trouble in the past.
Yeah.
it's no wonder that that escapism, that you know, different mindset transfer is getting more and more popular, given, you know,
Mhm.
if you look outside kind of thing, you know, where the world is. It just makes sense that we need some stories to distract ourselves a little bit more than maybe we did in the past. But
True. Very true. Too true, even.
too real. Should
Too
bring it
real.
back. Should bring it back.
All right. Let's see. I think we have. Yeah, we probably could squeeze in one more question. And this one last question, and I think it's kind of a fun one. Nice way to wrap up the night. If you needed an NPC for a fantasy RPG campaign, but it had to be a Muppet, who would you choose and why?
Wait, are we playing this character?
Yeah.
Well, it's an NPC, so maybe if you're the DM, but...
Okay.
Beaker, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's such a library of Muppets. They're all
I
such
know.
good actors.
I know.
What are the ones from the Peanut Gallery? What were their names?
The old dudes.
Waldorf and Statler.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's it. Me. That's mine right there. I mean, that's
That's a good one. Dang.
That's a good one.
Gonzo the Magnificent, hands down.
Mhm.
yeah.
I do love
Fantastic.
Gonzo. Like,
Yeah.
that's true. Animal is a good one too.
Pepe.
Mhm.
I've got Animal right there, actually. Oh, he's tipped over.
Oh no!
We're using R2.
I
Lucas
see
already
that.
did Beaker.
Gonzo is a knight, Rizzo is his squire.
Oh,
They ride horse.
Just Fraggle Rock out.
Yes, they are Muppets.
Can I choose Michael Caine from Christmas Carol?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm having trouble thinking of it because all I can think of was Muppet Babies because all my kids watch. But
that's hard to find these days.
I know. Is it like
I
the
was
old
reading an
school
article
one?
about it, but yeah, because of the like licensing of all the like music that they used or something is like it's just too much of a pain to get the licensing sorted.
Yeah.
And back in the day, like Jim Henson was just tight with everybody, so like people were like, "It's cool," but now like that vibe is gone.
Yeah, because
No more
And so-
handshake agreements
So
over
now
IP.
they would have to do it like the legit way, and it's just too like.
It's too complicated.
But is it a cop out if I go with Bobo? Bobo, the big like wrinkle, the
Mhm.
wrinkle bear.
Mm.
He's a cool dude.
I love him. I don't know.
Or Sam, because everything's just about freedom.
Okay, but Sam, that's some good
Sam the
humor.
Eagle in Muppet Christmas Carol when he's like the school teacher.
Yeah.
It is the American way.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the
It is
British
the
way.
British way.
Oh my god.
No, I'm gonna change mine to Tim Curry from Pirate Island. actually.
Yes.
yeah, there we go.
Yes. And that's important because Michael Caine treats all of the other Muppets like human actors.
Yeah.
Tim
Yes.
Curry is acting as if he is a Muppet with other
Yeah.
Muppets.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think Fozzie
Absolutely
Bear
true.
is easy one to pull on.
I'm
Rosie,
gonna
you
go
and
with
I, same page.
Honeydew.
What was
I
that,
love
Tay?
I'm gonna go with Honeydew.
Okay.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. It's hard. There's so
There's a lot
many.
of good ones. There's a lot of
Yeah.
good ones.
I mean, in my mind, all NPCs are Muppets of some kind, frankly.
I mean, I think that's
Yeah.
how they
That's
work.
great. I like that.
Who was it? I can't remember who it was.
Richter, I am Ms. Piggy.
There was somebody, I've had them on stream before, and somebody here has to know who it is, who has their NPC voice that's the Bean Boy.
The Bean Boy.
I cannot for the life of me remember
Hold
who
on.
it is.
Is the Bean Boy a Muppet?
The
In
Bean
my
Boy.
head, yes.
Are you talking about Adam?
It very well could be.
The Bean Boy.
Which boy's
Do
the Bean
not-
Boy?
I do
I
not.
I did
know
have a
this.
logo that
I
was
remember.
for a while. Is it?
The
Was
Bean.
it
I'm just, you know what? I'm gonna Google the Bean Boy.
Yeah, I
What
want to know
pops
who
up?
the Bean Boy
I think
is.
that's who
Luck.
it was.
Good luck.
Oh, like the little
Bean.
bunny? Bean Bunny?
The Adventures of Bean Boy.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a comic. Not helpful.
No, that's not it.
Bean Boy.
Or is it
Muppet.
the Van Camp's Bean Boy?
Yeah, do you mean Bean Bunny?
Nope. This was an NPC voice that they had.
I
Anyway.
want to hear it so
What did
bad.
it sound like? Give us a little taste.
Oh no,
Yes.
no! I will not do it justice.
That's why I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
like,
even
no.
think I could do it like even remotely. like
The
remotely.
Bean Boy.
Yeah, everyone give us like, let's go around and try a Bean Boy voice.
Yeah,
like,
tell
what do
us
we
what you
think
think
of
of
Feels
Bean
like
Boy?
it has to be super creaky, like the Bean Boy.
Hello, everyone. I am the Bean Boy.
Are you liking your
I don't know,
beans?
I feel it's more
I'm
like
just kind of a bean boy. I don't know. I sit in the dirt and I just kind of grow leaves, and I'm a bean boy. That's
Hi there. I'm just
Yeah.
a bean boy. How are you
Yeah.
today?
see, that's more of the voice I hear in my
Oh,
head.
sorry, I'm the Bean Boy. I just
Yeah, I was gonna- what if you went the
opposite?
Body burgers.
kind of a bean boy.
Well, now that I've broken everybody's brains. All right. Well, we are about at the point where we're going to need to wrap it up for the evening. But before we do that, I would like to give everyone a chance again. Just remind us of who you are and anything that you have going on that you would like to share, where we can find you on social media, all that good stuff. We'll go in the reverse order of when we started. So, Tay, we're going to start with you this time.
Uh-oh. Hey, it's Tay. Same thing from earlier, but backwards. So, Backwater Bastards, greatest best friend show of all time, sci-fi comedy improv. It's me and two Kiwis, so it's mostly like just me getting rinsed all day long. I play a bear that's a boy, but was a human girl, but something fucked up, and like you're gonna have to listen to find out what. It's like there's a lot of backlog because we've been doing this forever. We're in our 3rd season, and there's something coming that's new, and I'm not gonna say anything else because I don't know when we'll be done with it. We have poor time management, but we also have a second show that's like buried called Sidearm where we talk like this all the time, and it lives in our Discord, and we have a fun little community. So, and we're making our game system that we play the game with. So if you're into
Nice.
that kind of shtick, we use a game system that we're building. So by doing the show, we're playtesting it because back in the day we played D&D, but we homebrewed it so much that we were like, this ain't D&D. And everybody else was like, you're right, it's not. You probably need to stop.
You broke
and
it.
then-
We're
Good
reaching
job.
out to y'all and be like, what system do you use?
Yeah, like because people like you say like we are playing D&D 5e, and then you go into Reddit one time and like 3,000 people pop up and they're like, where do you live and what is your address? Because we're gonna peel your skin off. You didn't use that right. And we were like, yeah, fair enough. So now we have our own thing that we're building, and it's like different, but D20s. So like no panicking. Support indie creators, right? Because some people don't need any more money. Bye.
Oh, Tay, I no. How do we follow that? So, run
Something that makes
DMG,
sense.
Ryan, you're up.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I go by RunDMG or DMG Run, depending on the social media platform. I post tons of different memes. Most of them are fantasy and D&D or Pathfinder related because that's what I know best. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, not really on Twitter anymore, but you can find me on Threads. I also have another account where I do more like funny skits. It's called More Run DMG, and I have a podcast called Dice Populi that is about to end its first campaign 4 or 5 years in, and we're gonna start doing some more like one shots, short campaigns, doing different systems, having a lot of guests on as well. So hopefully that'll start coming out in the next couple of months. I need to actually start like tagging people and reaching out to them. But yeah, if you want to laugh and like memes, check me out.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on and hanging out. It's always great to get to spend time together.
Love being on the show.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Charles.
I'll try to do better this time. No, I'm Charles. I do cinematic tabletop photography. If you're into that, I'm on all socials, npc.charles. My website, npccreations.com. If you want to see sort of like the full gallery of all the images I take, I use practical effects with real usable tabletop scenery to create really, really alive images that sort of tell a story in one snap is kind of the idea. And yeah, I just make things and put them out there just to kind of inspire other players, other DMs, GMs, anyone just kind of looking for it. So if you're into that, just check out my art, and yeah, see you online.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on and hanging out. It was great to get some more chance to talk. And
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Juicy.
Ooh, you might be muted.
I can't hear it.
Hi, I'm Juicy Garland, Boston area drag queen and super nerd. You can find me at PAX East at Gamer Mom Luna's panel for this show. You can also find me with Boston Gamers panel on Sunday, and the Queer XP's panel on Friday, and with Gehenna Gaming on Thursday and Friday mornings. I am a busy dame. You can also find me in All Our Faults, a Monster Hearts 2 podcast that releases every other Wednesday, including this coming one. You can also find me for a limited series for Thirsty Sword Lesbians on Friday evenings with ESP. Pay attention to my socials. I'll be blasting that. That starts this coming Friday at 8 p.m. And this Saturday, I'm doing a Vampire the Masquerade one-shot with Aaron My Laundry, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to be a Creeper Nosferatu, which I'm so pumped for. You are not prepared for his name. It is too long. So pay attention to my social media on the Twitter, the Blue Sky, the Instagram, and the Threads. Juicy Garland and Juicy.Garland in that order. There were 4. I said 2. You'll figure it out. Because that's where I post all the things, and I'm really annoying about it. So, hot dog. But yeah, I'm a Chaos Goblin who loves to make ridiculous stuff, and I'm the head of PR for Tabletop Tales Spinners Network, a pod network that is doing what it can to be as diverse as it possibly can, as earnestly as possible, which is why I joined. So just keep paying attention, and we're going to put more cool stuff out there. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. It was great to sort of meet you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
Yes, and eventually I will also con you into one of my drag events where we will also see each other in person there too.
Yes, it will be super fun. Awesome.
This is the best con I've ever heard.
Right? And Adam.
Hi, I'm Adam. Thanks for having me. This was such a blast. I'm the DM for the Roaring Trainers, a D&D Pokemon podcast set in the 1920s, Kanto in the Jazz Age. It's a show for those of us that grew up with Pokemon and wanted a Pokemon media that grew up with us. So don't let your kids listen, please. It's a dumb fart podcast that makes you cry from laughter and emotions. And you can follow us on Twitter at Roaring Trainers. And that's it. Also, I'm just going to talk about Bean Boy for the rest of the night. So thanks for that.
I'm going to have to figure out who that was now. It was...
Get my Bean Schoolie. Here it is.
Yeah. Nice. I can't remember. All right. Anyway, I'm Gamer Mom Luna. This has been Tales from the Tavern. We are here the first Sunday night of every month, except for July, but that's a ways away. And also, we will be at PAX East Saturday night, the 23rd, 7:30 p.m. in the Bumblebee Theater. You can come and watch us do this live. It will be me. It will be Juicy. It will be Sweet Rosie B. It will be Shannon Roby from the oh my gosh, Paradise RPG.
Yeah.
Let's see. It will be Duval King Jacob Plick will be there. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to it. And Jack Gogsbane, who does of Gods and Game Masters, is also going to be on the panel. So I'm really looking forward to that. We will have giveaways. We are getting cookies from Critical Hit Cookies to give away.
Whoa.
So you should come.
I like cookies.
Yeah. So it'll be great. And who can't use cookies when you're at a con? Because food is good. Also excited to share, I mentioned it a few times, but we are going to start recording pretty soon for a new Monster of the Week podcast. It's called The Hive, so be on the lookout for that. I'm very excited. That's going to be me, Atomic Zero, Ray Mayhem, Wolf's Blood, and...
Dang.
Oh my gosh, I just drew a complete blank. Brianna Jean. So it will be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about that too. I think that's everything that we have going on. Don't forget, we're raising money for Extra Life for the rest of this year. So be on the lookout for more information coming forward once we set a date for the Extra Life Charity Stream Weekend Extravaganza. We'll be looking for players, DMs, and also people who may not want to be on camera but are willing to help produce, because otherwise I will end up doing it myself for 3 days, and you don't want to see me at the end of that.
No.
All right. We are going to we're gonna chill out for the rest of the night. We're gonna drop a raid on my friends over at Turtle and Chill. If you have never seen their channel before, it is a 24-hour turtle tank.
Amazing.
And it's great. So we're gonna drop a raid on them, and I hope you all have a great rest of your evening and a wonderful rest of the month of March. And we will see you at the beginning of April. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
I should go.